Alrighty, how's it going? Welcome back. My name is Mason Dupree. If you have not met me before or listened to any of my other videos, I run my own agency, my own advertising agency on the side, particularly specializing in real estate lead generation at the moment. And then I also work for another agency full time. I make these videos as a way to sort of document my growth, particularly as an entrepreneur and in business, but also just sort of my skill development when it comes to marketing. And I think that these things are these videos are good things to look back on. And I've said this in the past, this is not the first time I've talked to a camera, it's just the first time I've actually posted them. And I think they're really good video logs. And sometimes, if I think it's worth picking up the phone, recording a video for myself to remember and to review, then I think it's worth maybe that to other people as well. And so for that reason, it's kind of why I get on here and why I share things. I don't have anything to sell to you. I'm not trying to sell anything to you guys. But I just sort of pick a topic that's sort of relevant to my work now. And one of the things that kind of came up the other day was, was what gets tracked gets measured. And I think when I first started my business, especially in high school and things like that, like 2016 when I was doing drop shipping on Instagram, I'd never really focused on the metrics that were outside of the KPIs, the normal, conversions, either purchases or lead gen. How many leads have we generated? What's our conversion rate on that? And how many sales have we generated? And what's our ROI on that, right? But I never really tracked any other metric before that. And sometimes, especially then, when you have such a short foresight, and you're not willing to put in the time and the money, or have the money, rather, to test these things for a while, it can be very hard, obviously, to achieve instant success, and that's very unlikely, right? And the whole, law of business is to just sort of survive, So you need to give yourself the longest runway. You need to give you the ability to learn as much as you possibly can to help you craft the most competitive offer and things like that. I've talked about that in other videos, but when it doesn't work instantly, then the next best thing to do is to track the next step down the line, right? So you should start viewing whatever it is, whatever system. System is a broad term to define a lot of different things, whether it be a funnel or an ad or any particular part of that, email marketing, whatever it is. You got to break that thing into parts, into sections. And then, you'll look at the volume coming through that funnel and you'll see where the bottleneck is. And then that is your ability to put it out into stages like that, and then understand the conversion rates and the flow from one point to the other helps you identify which part of that process is bottlenecking your whole sales funnel, right? And then you can go to that part in the stage and figure out, okay, well, what can I do to improve this section? Which means tracking things other than conversions, right? I kind of did this personally when I was running my Google ads and YouTube ads for my agency about a year ago. What I was doing was just running new content. And, I think I ignore this a little too much. And, if I could give you advice that I don't personally follow enough, it is that you should always focus on content, and making the best video ad or whatever it is, especially if you're putting paid ads behind it. Focus on making the best video you possibly can and make hundreds of them. I scripted a dozen a time every time that I would actually sit down and record. I did 3 waves of recording, then I did a bunch of editing. It took a lot of time. But what happened over time is that the CTRs continued to climb. I got better at making ads based on the CTR metric, which was really the bottleneck. I needed to get the attention from YouTube over to my landing page, right? Then from there, the next part in the funnel would be the landing page. When my landing page isn't converting. Why is it not converting? Is the lead magnet not strong enough? Am I not presenting enough value in exchange for phone number and email, right? What is it that I need to do to strengthen that part of the stage? And then that will lead into book calls. And then book calls, then it's a whole another sales process. It's how well did I define problems? How many, problems that I write down that the client asked me about, or mentioned that they had, that I can then answer these questions with. And I think those are, another key takeaway metric thing is that sales calls are the best way to learn what your customers want, 100%. So just increasing the volume you can have of those. How do you do that? Well, you've got to go up the funnel and unbottleneck all the rest of it. So what gets measured gets improved, right? So always measure almost every metric you possibly can, even if you don't think that you're going to need it at any stage of the funnel. And then go back and if you run into a bottleneck, if you're not getting the volume you need, if you're not getting the sales you need, the leads you need, then you need to go back further in the funnel and figure out what's wrong. We're going through that kind of at work right now where, we have a different department that does, the editing as well as the filming. So I'm not really involved with that. I just kind of do the media buying. However, the most critical part of ads, as I mentioned, is the content, the creative. And if it's not on par, it is going to dramatically impact the performance of the entire campaign. So it's up the funnel, it's upstream. But I got to go up there to make sure that ad, it looks great and that it fits what we're looking for in terms of paid media. And when you've got a new team that hasn't really had experience with that before, it's hard for them to know what to look for. And so you've got to go and kind of provide that, at least to the best of your knowledge, right? We don't know everything, but simple things like we need to build a hook, a body, and a call to action. That is really going to dramatically improve the ads. The hook is the thing we should spend the most amount of time on, right? To throw back to like David Ogilvy, Confessions of an Advertising Man, another great book. You should spend 80% of your marketing dollar, or he says 80 cents of your marketing dollar, on the headline. You should always focus on the headline, the hook, whatever that first part is, the first 3 seconds. Your opportunity to catch attention is your ability to then sell, on the next second, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, right? So you need to keep buying yourself time and then convince your lead, your target, that what you have is what they need, right? What will solve their problems, their pain points, and do it for them so that, you're reducing the amount of risk, increasing the likelihood that they're going to achieve the thing that they want. They're paying less for it. They think they're getting, far more value than they're paying for it, right? All these different things. You can go to Alex Hormozi and you can look at his value equation. I think it's a really great way of, through an equation displaying how you can increase the value sort of in numbers, if that makes sense. I think that's a really good programmatic, systematic way of achieving, is this value better than this other offer, right? Because value can be sort of an abstract thing. And, to an extent, psychological impacts happen where, you're looking at like a bottle of wine and you've got 2 different bottles of wine. They may be the same bottle of wine, but one's got a fancier label and and a huge price tag, right? People tend to think that wine is better, even though they're the same in blind taste tests. So you get some mixed variables in there, but what you really want to do is track everything so you can kind of figure out what the noise is and figure out what really is impacting the performance of your campaign at that point. And then try to constantly work on that until it is on bottleneck, and then it will reveal to you the next bottleneck, right? Because there's always going to be some lower performing part of the funnel, and there's always improvement that can be made. Just if I had to leave you with anything, what gets tracked gets improved. Always be looking at metrics not outside, that are also outside of your KPIs, because it will help you reveal why your KPIs are so low, right? And yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to share today. Again, I don't always do book recommendations, and I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't have referral links for any of these things. I don't watch this guy a ton, so I'm not going to endorse everything this guy says, but I decided to pick up his book because I liked reading, and it was a marketing book, and I felt like I should just always be educating myself on whatever marketing I possibly can. So this guy, William Brown, I'm sure you guys, if you're into marketing at all, you've probably seen his videos on YouTube where he's sitting in his like skyscraper apartment with Dubai behind him, talking about his humble beginnings, which is nice. There's nothing wrong with that, and good for him. But yeah, this How to 10 Million, in this, he talks about basically funnel diagnostics, like going through and breaking down the sales system into its parts and then being able to diagnose which part is messing up and how to improve them, which I think was a really big takeaway. That right there in itself was what enables me to systematically solve problems in marketing funnels that I use for myself as well as the company I work for. So huge takeaway from the book was that. There's some other good stuff in here. There's stuff on how to make a really great YouTube ad, which is really big. He's big on YouTube videos and YouTube ads. And so there's a lot of value in there, benchmarks as to what a CTR should be, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he really helps define some benchmarks that will help you, sort of target goals that can then, track your performance against. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, not always going to do a book review, but I hope that is something that you guys are interested in. If not, let me know. If you are interested in more book recommendations, I have tons of them over there behind me. I've read a lot on marketing, as well as a bunch of other topics. So I've definitely got a book suggestion for you if you've got a question around a topic. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is my 6th video, I think, now, and I can't wait to get to number 10. If I get to number 10 and I've consistently posted every 2 days, then that'll be a huge win for me. I've never really gotten that far with YouTube. But yeah, thank you guys so much. All that cheesy stuff, like and comment, it really does help the video. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate it.